Also, how did we get here from RBF? Is everybody good?
I'm ready.
Is that an owl?
I
heard
know.
something.
What the fuck?
Hang on. Somebody might be in my apartment.
An owl?
That sounds spooky.
I'll find out when I go back and listen to it later. But there's a huge chance it's my loud-ass neighbors who live in the building next to ours who never stop fucking screaming.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. Oh my god, this dude is so fucking loud. Like, literally all hours of the day, he is just standing outside screaming. Ugh.
Cool. Love that.
Yeah. I don't know. That or somebody's in my apartment. I'll find out.
I mean, don't get murdered, please.
Nah, I'm fine.
I mean, or if you do, take me with you.
Have you guys ever seen... I know this is random and we haven't even started the episode yet, but have you seen Holy Musical Batman or know any of the songs from it?
Yes. But it's been a very long time.
Well, there's a song where Robin and Batman are singing to each other and they say, "Don't get mugged and murdered on me. I cross my heart." It's very cute.
That's gonna be the teaser quote.
If we actually do a teaser this week, because we haven't done
Look,
one for
I'm
the past 2
so
weeks.
not
Well,
like
'cause
I can't even remember my own name half the time. I spelled it wrong today.
Yeah.
So
It's okay. I haven't been really doing anything on the... It's just annoying. I don't want to post stuff every day.
me either.
Like, I know we should, but I don't want to.
We need
Right?
a social media person.
Right?
I was literally just thinking that today. We need somebody whose entire job is to manage our social media for us, because I don't want to do it.
But I don't want to
Emma
pay
would do
them.
Oh god, no, they wouldn't be paid. If only we had a Craig or an Audrey who could do that for us.
Right?
That would be awesome.
Like, we don't even pay
Low
those
lives.
two. Like,
No.
God.
Ugh.
If anyone wants to be our social media coordinator, please feel free.
Free. For
Yeah.
free. Yeah.
Right, yeah, we ain't
You will
paying
not
you.
be paid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Maybe
You
in
will
the
not
future.
be treated as an equal.
No. This
You
will
will.
be an unpaid internship.
Just
Sorry,
like
if
all
I'm not getting
internships.
paid, you're not getting paid.
Basically, yeah. We're not getting paid to do this, so why would you get paid to do this? Oh, man. We're like 11 minutes in, and we still haven't started
Yeah, can
the
we start?
episode.
Sorry, it's a Shelby episode. We can't stay on topic. It's pretty much
We don't even
proven.
have a topic to stay on.
I know, because we haven't started. Anyway, let's get going.
Please, God, yes.
Hey friends, you're listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive. I'm Shelby.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Shannon.
Shannon,
We did it.
you sound so dead inside.
I'm tired.
Oh my goodness.
And my sinuses and my throat are all screwed up from my COVID test yesterday, so
Oh, gross, yeah.
yeah.
Well, don't get the Rona.
I don't think I have the Rona. I only did it because I have to if I want to set foot on my campus this semester.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
Yeah, we have to do it twice a week.
yeah, that sounds terrible.
I really hope it's not the up your nose one.
Yeah, either of the up your nose ones, because...
Like, you'd literally have a nosebleed 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
it's you.
Yeah. Yeah, the one they gave me, it isn't the one that's just a really long-ass Q-tip that goes all the way back to your throat. This one, I mean, you guys already know this, but it was like
Yeah.
a little plastic bulb thing with some chemical on it.
Ow.
Yeah, and she said, this is just going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to hurt. And I was like, sure. And then
That's
she
what
did
they
it.
always say, and it always hurts.
See, the thing is, I think for normal people, it wouldn't hurt. But because my sinuses and my nose are so sensitive constantly, it hurt.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, today it feels like I have, like, yeah, it's like whenever you eat too much, like, hard candy and the roof of your mouth feels all torn up, that's what the inside of my nose feels like.
Can we start the topic?
Well, any announcements from anybody?
Oh, that's right. Do we have
Yeah.
any announcements? I was going to tell you guys something, but I already forgot what it was, so
Great.
apparently not. Apparently not. I'll remember like in the middle of the episode and be like, oh, right.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Anyway.
Mine's just that I start school on Monday. And I'm not prepared. Well, I mean, I am, but, like, I don't want to do it online, and I'm mad. But I can't really do anything about it, so.
I feel that.
Start next week. Oh, I got all my teacher textbooks today. I got 4 textbooks about teaching English online, which I'd rather never have to do. But
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Great.
I'm not excited for it.
Yeah.
Whatever, they're paying for my tuition, so what do I care?
Right.
All right, let's get on with this.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's 9:40
No, it's
here,
fine.
or 8:40, and I have
It's
work
like,
tomorrow.
it is not 9:40, girlfriend.
I can't
It will
read.
be in about 2 minutes, but you know. Okay, so for this week's topic, we're going to be talking about Heavenly Creatures, the movie,
I've
but only
heard of
kind of.
this movie.
Was
I have not
Was this a book?
seen-
It might have been a book, I don't know. Like I said, I did this research literally like 4 hours ago. So,
I know-
There's full body rubbing against the microphone. Sorry. About the noise.
It's fine. Yeah, I know the name, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it either, but like I know the story behind it because it's based on a true story. So,
Gotcha.
basically, we're going to be talking about the true story, but we're leading into it with Heavenly Creatures, and that's what the title photo is going to be because it's cooler than the actual name. So, but anyway, so the movie came out in 1994. It's a psychological thriller. It was directed by Peter Jackson. He basically like wrote
Of
the
Lord of the Rings fame?
yeah. No, like it's a critically acclaimed movie. It was nominated for an Oscar and everything. It was like Kate Winslet's like breakout role essentially. But yeah, it's based off of a true story from 1954. It's a murder case from Christchurch, New Zealand, the Parker-Hulme murder case.
Isn't
So-
Christchurch where there was a shooting a couple years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, so essentially we're talking about the Parker-Hulme murder.
Mm-hmm.
But Heavenly Creatures just is a cooler title, so shout out to Peter Jackson for that one.
Yes, Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Seriously, my sister and I were so obsessed with Lord of the Rings when we were little, and we lived in Montana, which looks a lot like Rohan, like the
I-
Kingdom of Rohan.
Need to go to
And
Montana
we
then.
straight up played Lord of the Rings every single day of our lives. I was always Legolas, and she was always Aragorn. Aragorn.
Nice.
Yeah, Aragorn.
Aragorn. Yeah.
Aragon is a dragon.
Yes, I realized that. That was... Oh, speaking of Montana, the guy who wrote those lives in Pleasant Valley, Montana, where there's a shit ton of bear attacks.
Oh.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
But there's a... What?
A lot
The
of
guy
bear
who wrote
attacks.
Aragon, the dragon books, lives in Montana.
In a town where there are a lot of bear attacks.
Yes.
Bear attacks. Oh,
There may have only been one, I just remember it
I
as being
thought
a
you
big
said
problem.
air attacks, and I was
No.
like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you know,
Is this
when
World War
the-
II?
I don't know, the...
We have air
whoever was
raids?
bombing us.
God.
The Canadians.
I was gonna say Canada got really mad at Montana for a little bit there.
Look,
We're
I'd
super
believe it,
pissed.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Parker-Hulme murder. So basically, it is these two girls, Pauline Parker and Juliet Hulme.
Oh wait, I know this.
Do
Wait,
you?
were they lesbian vampires?
Dang it!
I do know this.
I was
yeah,
wishing you didn't.
I know
but that's
this.
okay. That's
yeah,
okay.
I know this. I just didn't. I didn't make the connection with
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
I thought Parker Holmes was one human's name.
No,
Like their first name was
no.
Parker, and then I didn't. I
It's
forgot that they
Parker-
made the movie.
Dash Hulme,
Yeah.
and Hulme, because I can't pronounce anything correct, is Hulme.
So Holmes, probably.
There's no S.
There's no S, but Hulme.
Interesting. Okay.
Or as one girl on YouTube called it, Hulme.
Just say home.
I
That
only
sounds-
know this because my freshman year of college, I watched the entire backlog of the TV show Deadly Women, which is so bad. It's horrible.
It's so bad.
It's so cheesy.
It's
but
terrible.
I loved it. I just...
I know.
I don't know why.
So
I think that's
upset
when I
that you
became
guys
obsessed
know
with serial killers.
this.
I was like, I love these lesbian vampires.
I've listened to a podcast episode, possibly more than one, about this.
I've
like,
watched a million YouTube videos.
I feel
on
like
this.
Wine and Crime did it.
Probably.
I think Wine and Crime did it at one point. I think.
Well, I'm going to do a very crappy version of it. So,
It's okay.
here we go. So basically, Juliet Holm, just a little background on both girls, more on Juliet because she's kind of like the more important one. But Juliet she was born in England. I won't say she was from England because, but she was from like an affluent family. They weren't like nobility or anything like that, but they were pretty well off and like comfortable. Enough that like they were able to send her to boarding school and like send her off to the Caribbean and like all these things, which we'll kind of get into. But basically, her father was a quantum physicist, and he like worked in a bunch of like labs, and he like worked underneath a Nobel Prize winner, the guy who came up with quantum physics essentially, and like all this stuff. Like the man was brilliant, and he was from a well-off family. So again, they were like upper crust without being nobility, sort of. But basically, a fun little side note about her father, just because I thought it was kind of interesting, is that during World War II, it is possible that he worked on the Manhattan Project. Like, it's not confirmed, but he was, like, with one of the guys who they do know was working on it, and he, like, went to a meeting with this guy. He was, like, in the United States, and, like, he's a quantum physicist and all this stuff, and so it's basically just assumed that he was working on it. But, yeah, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Also, Shelby, real quick,
yes.
I can hear the cicadas through your
They're
microphone.
so freaking loud.
Are they in your room? Like, they're so
No,
loud.
they're outside, but they're so freaking loud. I hate them. Not really. I actually love the sound of cicadas, but, like, they need to go away.
Right now, it's a little inconvenient, but...
Right?
I was listening to NPR the other day, and they were like, this is the sound of a deadly heat wave, and it was just cicadas. I was like, that's just the sound of outside.
Yeah.
I literally
That's
found,
normal.
like, 5 cicada husks on the outside of my house last night alone, so...
Gross. I hate those things.
Did you wear
Yeah,
them
they're
as
a little
earrings?
freaky. They kind of remind me of the movie Alien, and I don't know why. But anyway. But yeah, so her father was a quantum physicist, and for the time period of, like, this story, we don't really need to know much about him, but for that whole time period, he was the rector of the Canterbury, God, why can't I say that? Canterbury University College in New Zealand.
I just have to say real quick, I'm like 99% sure that Wine and Crime did this because I distinctly remember them making a rector joke. Like, rector hardly know her joke.
Sure, they did. But
'Cause that's
basically
what they
being a
do.
rector just means you're the director
I know.
of the school. But anyway, we're going to be classy about this. I'm kidding. I'm not
Shannon
classy about
certainly
anything.
isn't.
Well, no, that was just what I
I mean,
thought
my
of.
last episode, we talked about a horse.
Yeah.
So,
Great
a
detail.
I also wanted
very
to
detailed
mention,
horse.
we went through that entire episode last week and nobody made a semen joke.
Look, I thought about it. Okay?
Oh, I was like, what? I was thinking about the horse. I was like, what the
No,
fuck,
my
Shannon?
episode, my last episode.
Okay.
The one we just did a week
Where
ago.
she literally said,
Listen,
"See
time is
men,"
not real.
many times.
May. Yeah.
Aw, Maisie. Oh, I'm surprised Yuki's not trying to, like, bust down my door right now.
Peppa's being good because there's a dog out in the hallway.
That's fair.
Damn. Oh, I'm
But
sorry.
Peppa
I
is
shut the door
bullying
and
the
it scared
dog.
her. Hun.
How could you, Shannon?
Well, my roommates coming back at some point, but I don't know when. But I'd rather just have her in here, just in case Maisie decides to get jumpy, because she does that.
Yes.
Yeah.
She does.
I know. Keep going.
I mean, I love her.
I know. We're working on it. She's getting better.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I still haven't gotten past her father. Okay.
Nope.
So this dude was the director of the Canterbury University College in New Zealand. And basically, like, he had jumped around a bunch of jobs, like, in England, and then, like, was in the United States for a while. And then he decided he wanted to get out of, like, the whole, like, science field or whatever. And so that's why he took this position in New Zealand, and the family moved to New Zealand. So that's all the backstory you need on that dude, besides the fact that reportedly he was very reserved and quiet, and by all accounts just a very boring dude. So
Rude.
well, because like he was considered like part of high society-ish, and so like they would go to social gatherings also because like his wife was a major socialite, and so like she basically like made him go to all these social gatherings, and he just like could not care less about it, and like never had anything to talk about. As soon as he got to a gathering or a party, he was like, all right, out.
But same.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So but you know, it was like the 1940s, 1950s, and so like they were like, oh, this dude's boring.
Well, get over yourself and your stupid
Like,
custom.
sorry, the
England.
dude's a genius, but
God,
okay.
I'm so sick of the British.
Yes. But yeah, so his wife, Juliet's mother, she was a socialite. She came from just like a middle class family, but she was like, she essentially married this dude because he was closer to high society than she was, and that's where she wanted to be. And she was like very flirtatious, very apparently like seductive, very popular amongst the men, and like had no female friends because she liked attention and would do anything basically to get their husband's attention and stuff like that. And so she just needed a lot of outside affirmation that she was pretty and lovable, and I don't want to explore the psychology of that because she's not important. So
I feel like marrying someone who is notorious for being reserved and quiet was not the best match for her, maybe then.
no, basically by all accounts no one understood their marriage because they were complete and utter opposites of each other, and like basically from the beginning everyone was like, but you two don't even like each other, sort of thing. So I'm pretty sure it was just like a marriage of like convenience slash
Social climbing on her part.
social climbing, and then like just like that's what they were supposed to do, sort of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, and then like Juliet's mother, essentially when she like found out she was pregnant, she was like, well, this is an inconvenience on my life. So, you know, not the greatest mother by any counts. Essentially, she like ignored Juliet like her entire childhood, and then like she had a son, Jonathan. I say she, they had a son, Jonathan, and paid a bit more attention to him because he was a boy, and so like, you know, family name and all that nonsense. But she got like postpartum really bad, and so she like went and stayed in the hospital with the baby, and like essentially left. And this was when Juliet was like 5 years old, and she like left in the middle of the night with the baby and went to the hospital and didn't tell Juliet. And like at this point, the father was like off in the United States working on a project or whatever, and so like they just abandoned this girl.
Holy shit.
Great.
Like, so like
I'm sorry, how old was she? 5?
5,
Jesus Christ.
That's not
right? So, like,
dramatic.
No wonder
basically
she turned
this
out the way
girl's,
that
like,
she did.
this girl's, like, never really, like, dad was always kind of, like, absentee, busy at work. Mom didn't want to be a mom and wanted, basically, she was like, this child is annoying. And it was during that time period where they were like, not very affectionate towards their children anyway, sort of thing. So basically, this girl's been kind of, like, ignored and abandoned her whole life. You know, not the greatest. Um, and then during her childhood, Juliet was diagnosed with tuberculosis. Some of the accounts said that it was like pneumonia that then turned into bronchitis. But most of them said it was tuberculosis, and then later in her life it was tuberculosis that she had. So I'm assuming it was tuberculosis. I don't really know. It was probably one of those where they just like put like 5 different diagnoses on it because they were like, I don't know, she's just coughing a lot.
Honestly,
just
that
gave
happened
her-
to me once.
Yeah.
What?
They were like, we don't really know what you have. You might have whooping cough, or what else did I say I had?
You might
I
have
don't know, they, like,
asthma.
pneumonia,
You just
I don't
like,
know, they
don't
they-
have lungs, okay?
They didn't even know. They're like, you're basically just allergic to the state of New York, so maybe stop coming here.
Basically.
That's what I did.
But yeah, so she was diagnosed with
Something.
things. We're going to go with tuberculosis. That's what we're going to say.
Illness.
And on the recommendation of the doctor, she was sent away to warmer climates, which was also beneficial to her mother because it got
Is this
her away.
1860?
What?
I said, is this 1860?
I mean,
Why are they
you
sending
would
people
think
to a warmer
so.
climate?
That was like
Can't
the
you hear
treatment
that
for
shit?
tuberculosis before we actually knew how to treat tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Okay, well, try harder, because isn't it like now the 60s or 70s?
No, this is the 1940s
It's the
still.
40s.
I thought, wait,
But we
I
had,
thought you said
like-
50s.
Antibiotics at this point, so like, yeah. I don't know.
Who freaking knows?
I don't know
okay?
when they cured tuberculosis, okay?
Well, and
Shannon, they don't teach you that in law school?
I think it was
No,
more that
or
like
in my
she was
history
on.
degree.
I think it was more that like she was on medication for it as well, but they also like her mother wanted to get rid of her and so sent her away,
Yeah.
sort
that
of
seems,
thing.
That seems very likely.
You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but
she was
that's just
sent
like
away
such
like
an old cure for it, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
yeah, it is. Because it was like to help her recover, not to like be the full recovery method sort of thing.
Did the mother visit a
But yeah,
rest
so
home?
she was sent away multiple times. Basically, like, the first time she was sent to, I think it was like Barbados, and then the second time it was somewhere else in the Caribbean. And then, like, okay, again, there's some discrepancy here. Like, some say that at some point during this childhood when she was sent away to South Africa, but then I saw another one where she was never sent to South Africa as a child, like that happened later in life. So I don't know. Either way, she was sent to warm climates. It is what it is. But usually she was sent to live with quote unquote family friends, but they were always like people that she herself didn't know. Like she had never met these people. Which kind of makes sense if they were like living in the Caribbean, like she wouldn't know them, but they're like they have family ties or whatever. But yeah, so basically it's like her family's just like shipping her off when she's sick to live with complete strangers. So I'm sure there's a few abandonment issues there too, but you know, cool. And then when she was 13, so it was like sorry, I have to do math here. 1951, 1952, around that time period. Um, okay, so when she was 13, her parents moved her to the North Island of New Zealand. But this was before, like, her dad became the rector of this school. So, like, basically they, like, moved her to New Zealand, and then her dad, like, a year later was like, and you know what? Like, I don't want to be a physicist anymore, so let's take this job in New Zealand. And then, like, then they moved to New Zealand and, like, reunited the family or whatever. But obviously that didn't really work out because she didn't even really know her family that well because she had always essentially been sent away from them. And it was always, like, described that she basically she was a strong-willed child, essentially, is what the reports say. She was prone to, like,
She was
throwing
a
fits.
pain in the ass.
Yeah, like, if she didn't get what she wanted, she would, like, throw fits and, I don't know. Basically, she was a little brat.
Yeah, they
But
described
that's-
me as strong-willed.
That's fair.
That,
So.
For me, that meant I was depressed and acting out because nobody would fix it. Strong-willed can cover a lot of different
Right?
actions.
Like, sorry you abandoned your child and now
Yeah.
she, like, wants you to love her. God forbid.
Yeah. Well, plus, like, we don't know, I'm assuming, like, what kind of treatment she was getting at all these other places either.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know?
there's, like,
Well, like-
reports that one of the families she lived with had a son that, like, hated her, and so he would, like, bully her and, like, make everything awful for her. Like, none of that is confirmed, but there are rumors that went around about that, so, like, who knows,
Yeah.
honestly. But, I mean, also, she's, like, 13 at this point, and she came from, like, a good family, I guess. A family in good standing financially, basically. And she was well-traveled is how they put it, but, like, okay, because you
What?
forced it on her.
Yeah.
Not that I'm, like,
How is that
sympathizing
even,
with
like-
a murderer, but
Dude, we defended cannibalism a lot last week. I think we're okay.
yeah. But they also kind of, like, didn't
I
raise
know.
her to not be a murderer.
No,
so.
I know. No, they did a terrible job
They
raising
didn't
this
raise
child.
her.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, they didn't raise her.
Exactly. Yeah. So once, like, the whole family moved to New Zealand, they, like, brought Juliet in to live with them, blah, blah, blah. The timeline's weird and funky with everything from her childhood. There's just weird discrepancies that, like, I couldn't quite figure out, and honestly, like, it doesn't really matter, but it is a little odd to me because she's still alive, but whatever. But anyway, eventually she ended up attending Christchurch Girls High School, which is a public school in the Christchurch area of New Zealand, but it's also a very good one because apparently she had been at a boarding school in New Zealand, like on the North Island, but she was, like, super bored because apparently she inherited, like, her dad's genius because they did an IQ test on her and it was, like, 170 or something ridiculous
Well,
like that.
shit.
Yeah, and, like, this girl's, like, 13, 14 years old, but okay. And they decided that part of the reason she was acting out so much and being so strong-willed is because she was bored and she needed more academic rigor and stuff like that. So they sent her to this new school, the Christchurch Girls High School, which I guess was known for being, like, really good academically. So, she was described as being tall and lithe. She had, like, perfect blonde wavy locks, and she was super smart, and then she like carried herself with this constant air of aloofness. And for some reason, like her looks mixed with the aloofness and the time period being what it was, people were super drawn to her. And like everyone at her new school wanted to be her friend, but she had little to no interest in other people. Like she
Yeah, because she was never socialized by
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah, so like she honestly, she was just like, she considered people beneath her, essentially. And that's really all the background you need on her. So the other girl who was part of this is Pauline Parker, which odd little tidbit about her is before like the trial of these girls, Pauline was known as Pauline Reaper. And she spent her entire life thinking her last name was Reaper, and it was like her mom was Honora Reaper, and then there was her dad. But it turns out that her mom and dad were not actually married because her mom was her dad's mistress.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
So, like, they were living together, but he never officially divorced his first wife. And so, yeah, it's this whole thing. And so her mom's maiden name is Parker. So during like the trial and everything, on her birth certificate, it says Pauline Parker.
Interesting.
Because her parents were never like officially married. Sort of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of like a weird little thing. And so obviously that kind of tells you a little bit of what her home life might have been like. Like her whole life is built on a huge lie sort of thing.
That's a really shitty time to find that out, is when you're on trial.
Right? Like you're on trial and they're like, JK.
Yeah.
That happened
Like,
to another...
that's... I mean, they were both her parents. Like, it was her mom and her dad, but, like, she didn't know her dad had a whole other family, like, 2 sons and a wife.
Yeah, well, then, like, being...
I think he was a serial killer. Pee-wee Baskins.
Ted Bundy didn't know. Ted Bundy didn't know that his
no.
mom was actually
Pee-wee
his
Baskins
mom
didn't
until
know
he was a
that his...
teenager.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he thought that she was his sister.
Yeah. Pee-wee Baskins didn't know that his name was actually Donald or something.
Nobody was talking, so I was like, am I right?
No, I was just trying to remember. But yeah.
Yeah, well, plus, like, back then, like, there was a lot more weight being given to whether or not you were a quote-unquote legitimate child versus an illegitimate child. So, like, that would be, like, societally, that could cause issues for her.
For sure.
So.
But yeah, so she came from, like, her whole family was, like, working class. Like, upper working class, but definitely working class. And Pauline was described as being stocky with dark frizzy hair and a constant scowl on her face. So basically she had resting bitch face.
I understand.
Like, fair. Me too.
Did I tell you? Sorry, real quick. I was working at the West Garfield Park Library, and West Garfield Park is not a good neighborhood. Like, it's just not. It's insanely unsafe. But I was working at the library there for a little bit, and I was taking my break, and one of the security guards came up to me, and I was in, like, this is that library that, like, I got lost in the basement for a little bit, because it was so, like, the building is insanely old, and the basement was a maze. But so I was in the basement in the break room, and he comes up to me, he's like, are you okay? And I was like, why wouldn't I be okay? He's like, you just look really mad. And I was like, dude, that's just my face.
I have resting sad face, so people are like, oh my god, did something happen? And I'm like, no.
No, literally when I used to work at, I won't say its name, but when I was a host at a restaurant,
I know which restaurant.
Right, the worst one ever. But I had this old man come up to me because I had to, like, hold the door open for him to leave or whatever, and he was like, don't look so sad, life is fun, it's great, blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, that's my face.
Yeah.
Like,
plus it's a
sorry, I just always look like I'm on the
reflects
verge
my
of
inside,
tears,
and I really can't help it.
right? Like, I might cry at any moment. You never know, okay? Like, sorry.
That is also true for me. But my face default is angry at everything.
Yeah, no, my face default is just like gonna cry in 0.2 seconds if you even look at me wrong.
Mine is recent death in the family.
You know.
Mine is recent death and I'm seeking vengeance.
Yeah.
No, yours is recently killed someone.
Yeah. That's
Recently
probably...
caused
Okay, but
said
did
death.
I ever show you my college ID from UGA?
I feel like you have, but I don't remember what it looks like.
I threw it away, but
Oh, well.
no, but like my picture, it was one of those that like the computer wasn't working for a second because, you know, me and technology don't get along, kind of like Hannah and technology.
Hey,
And
what's up?
Hannah's is worse.
this is true. But like the girl never told me when she was taking the picture, and so I was sitting there for like a good 2 minutes being like, is she ever gonna take my picture? Like, what is going on? And so like I had smiled when she told me to, and then she just like never said anything else and was just like clicking things. So I was just sitting there, and then she was like, okay, you can go pick it up over there. And so I went like over to the next counter to pick it up, and literally she had taken it when I was like in confusion mode, but apparently when I'm confused, my face just looks like I'm gonna murder the next person to talk to me. Like, I seriously looked like I was about to kill the girl over the counter. Like, so that was my college ID, and every time I had to show it to someone, I was like, ooh, sorry.
I have never had a school ID that I wasn't sweating in. Like, my SWIC ID, I look like a bog witch who just crawled out of her fen. I don't know. I seriously...
But that's like the
I look
ideal
insane.
aesthetic.
Well, I was so sweaty, and like,
Not because
my
of
hair
sweat,
was a
though.
mess. 'Cause
Like,
it was
that's
just...
like, yeah.
I don't know. It was bad. And then my mom made me straighten my hair for my freshman one because it was like parent orientation.
Oh,
like
God.
they, for some reason, they let my fucking mom go with me. No offense, Mom. I love you, but like,
Why?
it was a lot for that weekend. Anyway, she made me straighten my hair, which takes, first of all, it takes like 3.5 hours, and second of all,
Yup.
it just makes me so sweaty. And then what was my other one?
I don't even bother
Oh, my
straightening
UNH
hair
one. I
anymore
looked
'cause
like
it
a
takes
sweaty
too
nurse from
long.
the 40s.
Anyway.
My
Sweaty
ID
gal.
pictures are all fine. My driver's license still has really short hair, so I don't look entirely like my photo, so that's always fun.
Is it back
main
when you
driver's
had your like
license now.
pixie cut?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I have to get a new picture this year, but considering that the DMV essentially no longer exists, I can't, like, go get a new
Yeah.
picture.
Oh, I have
my
to get a
God,
new
I
ID this
told you
year.
of my trials at the fucking DMV.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did I ever tell you guys, this is on the whole, like, our body language gives off weird vibes kind of thing. So, my first year of law school, this would have been a little over a year ago. I had to do oral arguments for legal writing, and so I was in a suit. And this was also the day that we had to put Teddy down, so just, like, keep that. Yeah, it was not a good day.
Teddy.
But yeah, so I was in a suit. I was on my way home from school from doing my oral arguments, so I'd already done it, and my shoes were, like, rubbing on my feet really bad. So I stopped in at the Target downtown on State Street to get Band-Aids so I could put them on the bus like a regular person. And I was
Yeah.
walking around looking for Band-Aids because I never actually, like, needed them before. And then I think I also, like, went up to get, like, a soda or something. And this dude who was probably, like, 20, maybe, just stops and he's like, why are you walking like that? And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Why am I walking like what? And he's like, you just look really, like, assertive. And I was like, what do you want from me? I'm just buying Band-Aids.
You're just walking really assertively, Shannon.
Well, I
like,
was in-
calm down.
Well,
How fucking
'cause of-
dare
God.
you.
Okay, Hannah,
Feminazi.
Hannah, I don't remember if you were near me whenever this happened, but the very first time fucking Doobie ever talked to me was I was walking too quickly, so I looked like I was mad at him specifically. Because he was in the path between me and my band locker.
He can fucking get over himself.
I know. But...
Why are Men so sensitive.
Seriously.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, but I was just like, okay. And he was like,
And I'm sorry, but it starts young because at the daycare, like, my girls are all great and my boys are the moodiest little brats.
yeah.
Seriously, kindergarten boys are the bitchiest children they make.
Like, my boys are the ones who, like, wake up screaming, and then, like, if anyone even dares to come near their toy, they just, like, sit there and scream at each other all day, whereas the girls are like, no, give me my toy. And I'm like, thank you for using words.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, no, boys will, like, cry and cry because it's like, well, Ethan didn't talk to me today, so now I'm really upset. And it's like, the girls are like, yeah, I haven't spoken to Brittany in 4 years, but that bitch bit me in preschool, so, like, I don't know.
Right? Like, get over
I don't know,
yourself.
boys are bad.
Ugh.
They're not bad. Boys need more emotional outlets.
Boys need therapy, okay?
Everybody needs therapy. Go to therapy and shut up.
But also, they also just need to learn how to handle real emotion.
They need to be socialized to be told no and to handle emotions.
Also that. God.
Because, yeah.
Anyway, it's fine.
All right, let's get back on track.
Yeah, let's get back on track. So Pauline, with her nasty face. I'm sorry. Pauline with her assertive face. Let's be
Yeah.
real here.
Pauline with her face. We don't
yeah.
have to put labels on it.
Okay. God. But, like, even though she, like, scowled a lot, it's not like she was really, like, disliked or anything. People just thought she was standoffish. So she didn't have a lot of friends, but it's not because she was, like, bullied or anything like that. They were just like, oh, she's mad at the world. Okay.
See, real quick. My RBF makes people want to ask me why I'm mad. Why can't they just assume that I am standoffish and I don't want to talk to them?
Right? Like,
That sounds so nice.
Because they're worried that you're about to, like, pull out a gun and get rid of them in some way.
that's
They're
fair.
trying to de-escalate you, Shannon.
God, how dare you walk like that with that face,
I
Shannon.
still don't know what the fuck you meant, because I
Also, like, who just stops a random person in the middle of a store and is like, why are you walking like that?
I don't, like,
Because my feet are carrying me in that direction. Like,
it was just weird.
What do you mean?
'Cause I was
Why
like,
am I walking
dude,
like this? This is how I walk.
yeah, and then he was also just like, what are you, like, why are you wearing a suit? And I was like, I had a law school thing. He was like, oh yeah, you look like a lawyer. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, leave me alone. I just want Band-Aids.
Right? Like,
also
my
had-
feet hurt. Leave me alone.
Yeah, he also had a girl with
he-
him who I think was his girlfriend, and she was not happy with this
just about
conversation.
to ask, was he, like, was this some weird attempt at flirting?
I don't know.
Like,
If it was not good.
like, were you trying to make this girl jealous? Because, like, that's not the way to do it.
It was weird. I think he genuinely thought he was, like, complimenting me, but that was not what happened.
Shannon, were you the person I was with at Barnes & Noble who got hit on by, like, a 12-year-old?
Yes, that was me.
Oh my god,
That
Shannon.
was so fucking weird.
was
This little
like-
kid just walks up to Shannon
No,
and is
okay,
like, hey, how
he
old
was
are you?
17, not 12.
Oh,
Not
whatever.
better, but he was 17. It was
I'm
like,
sorry, but he's basically 12.
No, I know. He was. If you're not 18, you're 12. And actually, to me now, if you're not like
You're not
24,
18,
you're
you're
12. Like, to me, anyone who's under the age of like 24 is 12 years old. But
Basically.
yeah, it was like right after I turned 21. I was at Barnes and Noble probably in the fantasy section. I don't fucking remember. This dude comes up to me. He still had fucking braces. And
Oh,
Definitely in
God.
the history section.
actually, it may have been in the history section.
I know
you
for
spend
sure
a lot
it
of
was
time in the
history
history
Okay.
section.
Okay, it was probably the history section then. But yeah, he started like chatting me up, and I tried to hint in the conversation that I was well into college, and he did not pick up on those hints. And finally, he asked my phone number, and I was like, "How old are you?" And he said 17. I was like, "I'm 21." And he just said, "Oh, okay, bye." Turned around and walked away.
You should have been like,
my
I'm a single
Lord.
mom. Goodbye.
I had that not happen to me, but I was
man.
like with my friend Ashton in Georgia. We were at the Mall of Georgia, and we were on our way out. We were leaving, and we're pretty sure it was like on a dare or whatever, because there was like this whole group of like children, but teenage boys. And one of them just like runs up to us and like taps Ashton on the shoulder, and he was like, "Hey, can I have your number? You're really pretty." And she just turns to him, because we were in college, and she was like, how old are you? And he's like, 16. And she's like, I'm 22. Goodbye. And he was like, age is just a number. And she was like, yeah, jail's just vacation. She was like, no. And like all of his friends like laughed at him so much. And we just like walked away like scoffing. We were like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're an actual literal child.
Yeah, that's how I felt with mine too. I gave several hints that I was about to be a senior in college.
Yeah. I am a spinster.
Luck.
Oh man, yes, that was me that happened to. Thank you for remembering that.
Also, I would like to point out that we are officially an hour and 1 minute into this recording.
Let's get this shit over. But also look at the thing I just said, guys.
Oh gosh. What is this? Oh, no.
Hannah, where were you? What did those people yell?
My desk
What?
is a trash can, like a literal garbage dump. So every day I just like pull out new fun things.
Find new things.
There's some socks up here if you want to see them.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Hannah, do you remember whenever we were walking back either somebody's car or a dorm or something, and Allie was there, and it was after a game, and you were still in your uniform, and somebody like drove by and yelled something, and you said either suck my dick or fight me, and I don't remember which one it was.
It depends on what year it was. If it was my sophomore year, I probably said fight me.
I think it was junior or senior year.
Then I definitely said suck my dick.
Okay, it was one of the two.
Oh my goodness.
We're looking, I sent them a picture of a CD cover.
Why do you have, is that a coconut?
Yeah, I said I had a coconut.
Why
It's
did
to
you
make
just send us a picture of a
Is
coconut?
it to make the fucking horse
it's
sounds
to
from
make,
Monty Python?
Yeah, it's from Monty Python, Shannon. It's so I can ride my horse around.
I love that. Why are you like this?
You don't know me.
Oh my goodness.
Why didn't you use those whenever we were talking about the demon horse?
Oh my god, I didn't even think about it.
Hannah, missed
Honestly, it was
opportunity.
It's buried under a shit ton of medical
Oh
supplies.
man, why do you? I don't even want to know why you.
Also, I'm
Also,
pretty sure I talked about Monty Python in the last episode.
Yes, we did.
Listen, I'm an idiot. I don't know.
So you're just missing all the opportunities here.
Oh
I'll
man.
get my sound effect shit out. I can
What
do the
is
typewriter
that?
sound effect and a horse and
Oh my gosh, y'all, we need to get a soundboard so we can do sound effects.
I can be the soundboard.
Seriously.
What
I'm
sound
okay
do
with
you need
that.
right now?
We don't even
Think of a sound.
record well. I don't want to deal with a soundboard too.
Also, how did we get here from...
I started
RBF.
it. I'm sorry.
Here's all my
It's my
medical
fault
supplies.
this time. Yeah, what the fuck are those, Hannah?
It's for I've used a CPAP because I snore like
Oh,
a
okay.
trucker who hasn't slept in days.
Anyway, Pauline.
Right, murder.
Yeah. So, as a child, Pauline was diagnosed with osteomyelitis, which is just a bone marrow disease, but it essentially just like... Okay, page 2 of the notes.
Good God.
Look, it's only 3 pages.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to leave out a good portion of stuff because I don't care.
All right.
Also,
fair.
we don't have time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these two girls, Julia and Pauline, were in the same class at Christchurch Girls High School, and they ended up getting to know each other. Eventually, they ended up bonding over their shared trauma of having like debilitating childhood illnesses. And that's kind of like where their friendship started. Like, they bonded over that, and then it was kind of like they didn't talk to anyone else ever. Somehow they
That's
became
healthy.
best friends, and apparently that's what brings you two together. But anyway, I say that way too much. But their friendship ended up becoming like super obsessive. So they both had very vivid imaginations and kind of always had. As far as like Juliet goes, it's pretty much kind of assumed that it was her like escapism from like the trauma of her childhood and everything like that. But for both of them, they both had a tendency, like they were writers and they wrote plays together and novels and like acted out stories and things like that. And so they both had a tendency towards like not wanting to live in reality. Again, most likely due to their traumatic childhoods and the fact that their home lives weren't all that great. But they ended up creating this like elaborate fantasy world, where basically like they were the center of their own universe. Like the two of them together were the center of this like world that they created. And they became so obsessed with this like little like fantasy world that they created that they kind of began to regard it as a reality, and they essentially saw it as a parallel dimension, that they could like reach through their friendship, sort of thing. So this parallel dimension, they called it the fourth world. And it was essentially like their own version of heaven, and they developed their own religion with their own ideas of morality, and they like came up with their own saints that they worshipped, and they like rejected all of Christianity, and basically they claimed that they could like see the fourth world by reaching spiritual enlightenment, and their way of reaching spiritual enlightenment was through their friendship. So yeah, it's weird. Like basically like kind of one of the stories of like to kind of explain how it worked is like Juliet once threw like a huge fit over something that happened with her mother, and while she was in this fit, she claims that she saw the fourth world in a vision. And she like immediately contacted Pauline, and like Pauline came over and was like taking care of her or whatever, and when they got together, Pauline was then also able to see the fourth world.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's weird. So like I said, the girls' friendship became like super obsessive. They were close. They isolated themselves. They didn't interact with any other people. And Pauline's parents began to find it a little bit concerning.
Makes sense.
Right? Like,
Really unhealthy behavior.
yeah, like they basically considered it an unhealthy friendship, but at the same time, like they didn't really do anything about it at that point. So like over school holidays and things like that, Pauline would go and stay at Juliet's house. And then like when she had to return home, both of the girls would become super reclusive and withdrawn and things like that. And basically it got to the point that like Pauline's parents were concerned that the girls were in a lesbian relationship, which at the time, I mean, it's the 1950s in New Zealand, that was considered a crime and a severe mental illness. And again, there's like a weird timeline lapse thing where like there are some accounts where like Juliet was sent away again for her health. I don't remember where. And during that time, Pauline like started like sexual relations with men. I guess like there was like a boarder in her house who was like a 21-year-old like college student or something, and he became like obsessed with Pauline. But then like the moment Juliet came back home, she like broke up with this dude and like never looked back and only talked to Juliet again. But I also can't really find much on that, or like what the timeline of that was and like all of that. But like when this murder happened, the girls were 15, so she would have been pretty young. So I don't know how accurate that is. But again, that kind of lended itself, if it did happen, lends itself towards why they were concerned that the girls were in a lesbian relationship, sort of thing. But anyway, which actually later in life, Pauline like refuses to talk about things now, but Juliet has like done interviews and stuff later in life, but she like vehemently denies that they were ever in a relationship, just that the friendship was super obsessive. But again, who knows? Whatever. So in 1954, Juliet's parents got divorced. Basically, there were complications with faculty at the university that her father worked for, and the board essentially like forced him to resign. So there was some turmoil there, and then like her mother had been having multiple affairs for years, which everyone kind of knew about, and I'm pretty sure like the father knew about it, but he was just like, whatever, I'm working, I don't care, like this isn't even a marriage I wanted anyway, sort of thing. But since he lost his job and like the affairs kind of like came to light in society or whatever, everything kind of just like blew up for them. So they ended up getting divorced, and they decided to move back to England, like separately, but that's where they were both from. So they were going to move back to England. When that decision was made, they decided that Juliet should be sent to live with relatives in South Africa for her health, quote unquote. But that's probably more just we don't want to have to deal with this child, sort of thing.
Wouldn't that suck? Like the one time you actually live with your parents and they're still just like, nah.
Like bye. Like
Just
she
not
got to live with them for like
feeling
2
this.
years, and then they're like,
Never
life
mind.
sucks. You can
Yeah.
go live in South Africa.
Yeah.
I'm just not feeling this family. I just
Well, because she had
Just
a
not into
brother,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Was her brother also shipped off to parts unknown, or was he allowed to stay with his parents?
he was allowed to stay with his
Of
parents.
course he was.
Yeah,
well, he's a boy,
You know.
so he's better and
Yeah.
Right.
and should die.
I mean, I think they sent him off to like boarding school.
Yeah.
But
Probably not on another continent, though.
yeah. Well, he also didn't have tuberculosis
Yeah.
/ bronchitis / pneumonia / we don't really know.
Yeah. And wasn't
The
a...
whooping cough.
Yeah, and wasn't a difficult child, probably, so...
Right. He wasn't strong-willed.
precocious.
What, Hannah?
I said he wasn't precocious.
Yes. But yeah, so they decided that she was going to be sent to South Africa for her health. Sure. And obviously, Juliet and Pauline were not pleased with that news. They were devastated to be separated, and therefore they decided that Pauline was going to move to South Africa with Juliet. And eventually the two would go, like their plan, eventually the two would go to either Hollywood or New York City, and they were going to publish their writings and work in the film industry. Keep in mind, these girls are like 15 years old, so like,
And it's like the 50s.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
okay, live in your little delusional world, but okay. And basically at this point, like, the Holmes had completely checked out, and they were like, I don't care what you do, whatever, just get out of my sight. Like, if you want to take your little friend with you, fine, so be it. But the Parkers were like, no, that's a little weird, and our 15-year-old child is not going to South Africa with a random person. I don't care how good of friends you are.
Gal pals, bosom buddies.
Right. It's fine. You're just gal pals. Um, but yeah, so the girls did not like that at all. And basically they put all of the blame onto Pauline's mother, Honora Parker, for not allowing Pauline to go along to South Africa. Because, I mean, like, her dad was in her life, but also had that other family. So, like, plus he was super working class and, whatever. But the most present authority figure in either of these girls' lives was Honora Parker. And so she took the blame for, being a mother, I guess, and putting
like,
her foot down and being
logical.
like, no, you're not just going to move out to parts unknown.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine if when you got transferred to Japan, if I went to my mom and was like, hey, we decided on going to Japan with Shelby? Like,
Right? Like, your mom would have been like,
even my
okay,
mom, who was
you
the most,
psycho.
she was the most permissive parent on this planet. She would have
She
been like,
really is.
"What the
She would
fuck
have
is wrong
laughed
with
in
you?"
your face.
I know. She would have been like, what? No, what are you talking about? Ugh.
Like, no. Mm-mm. No. Yeah, because that would have been, like, for us, like, the same
About
age
the
as
same
these girls
age.
were.
Yeah. Like, no.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Lord.
God.
Can you imagine if we had tried to do that? We'd still be hearing shit about it now.
Right? Your mom would still be bringing it up at,
Yeah.
like, every time I'm over at your
Uh-huh.
house. She'd be like, remember that time you guys tried to move to Japan together?
Yeah. How'd that go?
Shut
You
up,
guys were
Mom.
so silly back then.
hmm My mom is fun.
I love your mom.
She did let me fly unaccompanied to visit you when I was 16. So, there's that.
I mean, that is fair.
I'd already
She
flown
did do
unaccompanied
that.
multiple times to visit my father by this point. So, like, it wasn't,
Also, like,
yeah.
she also let us use her car to drive up to Minnesota that same year.
Uh-huh.
So,
Because my car would not survive the trip.
yeah, and I was
Yeah.
only visiting Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Shelby, I don't know if you got my Snapchat today, but about your sister's thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw a dead moose the other day, and it was so
Hi.
tragic because that's the first
Oh, no.
moose
That
I've
makes
seen
me
up here. and
so
it was
sad.
fucking
I really hope there's not another spider back there.
Aw. Not for the spider, for the moose. I don't, yeah.
Yeah, it was very
Sorry.
sad.
Poor buddy.
I had to kill a spider on the wall behind my headboard last night.
May, what do you want? Maisie's just sitting on my bed staring at me.
Well, that's creepy.
Well, it's almost bedtime and she knows it, so.
Yeah,
All right,
it's past
we're-
bedtime. Peppa has checked out.
We're actually almost done here
Yay.
because I'm not going to
yeah.
talk about, like, the trial because I don't care.
Well, and
about
plus,
that.
like, I don't think we, like, need to for this. Like, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Get to the crime.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so they blamed Honora Parker for not allowing Pauline to go along with Juliet, and therefore, like rational people, they decided to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
next logical step.
Yeah.
100%. So, June 22nd, 1954, Honora and the two girls went to Victoria Park. Basically, like, the girls invited Honora out, essentially as, like, their chaperone or whatever. They were going to go to this park. They were going to go for a walk and have tea, blah, blah, blah. Just have a nice little afternoon out. But after tea, during their walk, is when the girls decided to bludgeon Honora to death. Essentially, they placed something on the path to distract her. I believe it was like a pink pebble or something stupid. But anyway, when she bent down to pick it up, that's when the girls used the opportunity to hit her over the head with a brick inside of a stocking.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, essentially they had like hidden this brick inside of like a roll of newspaper or something, and then like while she was distracted, they put it in the stocking and then like hit her over the head with it. Once she was dead, the girls then ran back to the tea house that they had just finished up at like 5 minutes before this. They were covered in blood and screaming that Honora had fallen and hit her head. And then the owner of the tea house claims that when the girls went to wash off the blood that was on them, she overheard them giggling. So, the police were called, obviously. They found Honora's body in the middle of the path in like this back like wooded section of Victoria Park, and she had major injuries to her head, neck, and face with minor injuries to her fingers. They also found the murder weapon in the woods nearby. So, obviously, the girl's story of her like falling and accidentally hitting her head was a stupid story to come up with if you're gonna hit her that many times. And
why not
to,
say
like,
someone else attacked her?
right?
Like, come on, guys.
Well, there's like one account where it says that they, like, when they went to the tea house screaming, they said that they had been attacked and that the attackers had murdered Honora. But like 98% of the accounts say that they said that she had fallen and hit her head on accident.
Yeah.
So,
come on, guys.
right? Like, don't be stupid.
Get creative.
Yeah.
Right?
No, don't even be creative. They were creative. That was the problem. Just fudge.
Right? Like,
who did it? That's all you needed to do.
Every good lie has a
kernel of
smidgen of truth to
Yeah.
it. Everyone knows this.
Apparently.
But anyway, so when the girls were taken by the police for statements and questioning, at this point, they're just taking them from the park, so they're not like officially charged with anything because they don't quite know what's going on. The officer in the car that was taking them overheard Juliet say, "She took a lot more killing than I expected." And when the officer asked her to repeat what she had said, she told them something along the lines of, "Well, aren't you the perfect little police officer?"
Oh, damn, bud.
So obviously they were like, "Well, okay, you're the murderer."
Yeah. Wait,
So
I'm
basically
sorry.
everyone...
Sorry, real quick. Was that Juliet who was being snarky with the police officer?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense because she sounds like a pretentious little beehole. Oh, Hannah's gone. Great.
Oh no, Hannah.
We're almost done. Okay, hang on. Can you use Discord on your...
I can't hear you.
phone?
Oh no, Hannah, come back. Hannah. Huna.
We're so close.
I've got like 5 more
I
points.
know. It says she's still...
What is happening?
It says she's still connected. Hang on.
Well, I mean, obviously she's still... Hello? Hannah?
Hi, can you hear me?
Heard her say something.
I heard hello.
Wait,
Yeah.
you can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, hello, hi.
Okay.
We're almost
Okay, I don't know
done.
where you got cut out at.
Basically right after I said something that you could hear.
What?
I
You're
made a
cutting out
comment.
really bad.
Oh my god. I made a comment on something. I don't know. Maybe at like the
Being
26-minute
creative?
mark. Yes. That's where I went away. Write
Okay.
that in your notebook and smoke it.
Well, I missed it because everybody's cutting out.
Oh no.
No, it's fine. Audacity will catch it. I'll
okay.
figure it out. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Shit.
Anyway, you didn't miss much other than Juliet being a snarky little brat to the police officer, and they were like, "Okay, well, you're super guilty then." So that's all you need to know. And so basically everyone knew it was the girls right away because people aren't stupid and the girls were terrible liars. And then they were taken into custody and tried for the murder. trial doesn't matter, whatever. They were convicted of murder, and both were sent to prison for 5 years, but the condition was that they had to be sent to separate prisons, and that they were not allowed to have contact with each other at all, ever, again.
5 years does not seem like enough for murdering someone with a brick.
They were minors.
Right? I don't know.
It's because they were minors. I can pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah. But basically, they were, like, both released from prison and given new identities. Pauline Parker was allowed to leave for England. Her new name was Hilary Nathan. She lived in a small village, and she became a devout Roman Catholic. And then she ended up running a school for, like, disabled children. So, yes, let's give the convicted murderer
Access
like,
to disabled
control of people who cannot, like, anyway.
Like,
People who cannot advocate for themselves.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm not saying anything she did was okay and nothing excuses it, but I feel like within these circumstances, like, she only did these things because she was so, I don't want to say crazy, but she was in not a good mindset because she was friends with Juliet. So they probably were like, she's not going to re-offend, and she didn't, as far as I remember. So, like, if we're actually going for, like, rehabilitation as a goal, I don't know. I'm not saying that she necessarily should have, but
normally I would agree with you. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Except that they found Pauline's diary, and as part of the trial, they read some of her diary entries, and it was, like, months where she was like, I'm so excited to kill my mother. Like, my mother's gonna die, and I'm so excited for this. Like, it feels like Christmas night, and blah, blah, blah. Like, so...
That's not good.
It's not.
Normally, I would agree with you.
I'm still chalking that up to her being cuckoo bananas because of Juliet, though. I don't know.
Maybe... I mean, she has to have her own sort of cuckoo bananas going on, though.
Oh, I'm sure they both do. I mean, they both had a decent amount of trauma as children, and, like, you know, I don't know if they were officially ever, like,
here, let me
diagnosed with it, but I feel like they probably had folia do at least a little bit, and, you know, it's not great.
Yeah, let me see if I can find this.
I don't know, because, like, there's that murder up in Canada named Carla Homolka.
Oh, yeah.
She is just batshit. Like, that is her entire human personality, is being batshit. And so she, after she was released from her criminally short sentence because she lied, and then they didn't realize she lied until after they'd already carried out her plea deal, it was something like she worked at her kid's school, or she volunteered at her kid's school, or something.
She volunteered at her kid's school, and they found out, and they were like, get out of here, because parents found out and complained, and they're like, the school released a thing that said something along the lines of, we do not allow criminals to work at this school. And they were like, well, you don't anymore.
Yeah, and then, like, with something like that, I completely don't want her to be around other people, because her action was exacerbated by being with Paul Bernardo. But it wasn't created from it. Whereas with these two girls, I feel like they created their own issue, and then when they were separated, it no longer became an issue.
Yeah, it was almost like a folie à deux with these two. They're just in their own shared delusion, and they can't break out of it.
Yeah, and so, I don't know. I personally... Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I personally don't have an issue with this. If she, because, like, from what I remember, too, she showed, like, a lot of remorse over this later on, unless I'm getting her mixed up with somebody else who killed their mother.
You mean Pauline?
Yeah.
She did, but also, like, if you go back and read her diary entries, and, like, I know part of it is Juliet, and, like, the fact that they were so obsessed with each other, but, like, her diary entries, like, it starts in, like, April, essentially, she starts writing about wanting to kill her mom and how mad she is at her mom and, like, actually making the plan to murder her mom. And she specifically says, I didn't tell Juliet about my plans to remove my mother because I don't want it to, like, end our friendship or to do anything weird. I want to make it look like a natural or an accidental death. And then it's in, like, June where she's like, oh, me and Juliet are going to kill my mom. So she had the plan to kill her mom before Juliet was even part of the plan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, because also, like, the whole remorse thing is coming from her sister. And basically her sister said, where is it? Pauline committed the most terrible crime and has spent 40 years repaying it by keeping away from people and doing her own little thing. After it happened, she was very sorry about it. It took her about 5 years to realize what she had done. So honestly, I think she had kind of just, like, dissociated. But she was also in prison for 5 years, so she didn't realize what she had done until she was out of prison.
Well, she was also a teenager, and she was mentally ill.
Yeah, her brain was still developing, too.
Yeah.
Still.
I don't know. I just have more...
Like, at 15 years old, I would have realized I had murdered someone.
Well, yeah, you would have. That doesn't mean everybody would. You know what I mean? Like, some people just don't have that, not object permanence, I guess. They just don't have that thought process of, if I do a thing that's bad, I might get a consequence for it. You know what I mean?
I
guess,
really just but, like, that's for, like, stealing, not murder.
I don't know. I just feel like I just have more support for her moving on than I mean,
I'm fine with her moving on and everything, but the whole, like, she was under Juliet's control, I don't believe that.
Well, no, I don't think either of them were under anybody's control. I just think that they both fed into the shared delusion.
Yeah.
And I think that without Juliet, this wouldn't have happened.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't think she was in danger of
it was just the whole obsessive friendship delusion thing. Like, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I just don't think she was in danger of reoffending or of harming these disabled students. You know?
No, so, I just think it's a little bit weird to have someone who's convicted of murder, like murdering someone that they're close to, especially, let them be the director of your school.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with, like, giving them a job and letting them do things, but, like, to have them be completely in control seems odd.
Did they? I mean, I'm assuming they knew. Did they know?
I assume so, but nothing ever says.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that was in England. It was after she had left New Zealand, because she stayed in New Zealand for some time, and she had to be, like, under surveillance while she was there, and she had to be given permission to leave for England.
Yeah.
So I assume they knew.
Yeah, probably.
But it was a small town, and she had, like, converted to Catholicism and everything. So, like, by all accounts, like, she had, like her sister said, she was, like, she stayed away from people, she did her own thing. Like, by all accounts, she's, like, basically just, like, not really in society that much. It just seems a little odd to me that that's who they would choose to run a school for people who cannot advocate for themselves. But then again, it's, 1959.
That's another thing, too. It's the 60s or 70s by this point. Like,
yeah. So they didn't care about those kids regardless.
Yeah,
so.
they didn't. The fact that they even had
so when they, like, strapped people who were completely cognizant with, like, cerebral palsy or something into a crib and left them there for 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yeah, we're kind of assuming she was doing good at this school. She may not have been. You know what I mean?
Who knows?
Like, we don't know. I don't know. I just, like, obviously it's not ideal that a person who murdered their mother is in charge of a school for disabled persons. Yeah. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
that
and I
is
mean,
ideal.
I'm not saying she wasn't good at the job or
Yeah.
like that she doesn't deserve to move on in life.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like she does have a fair amount of accountability for the crime.
Yeah.
Even if she was mentally ill and like delusional
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
But, you know. Anyway, enough about Pauline. She's not important anymore. She's doing her own thing, living her own life. I think she's still alive. I'm pretty sure she is. I haven't seen anything about her being dead. Juliet is for sure still alive. Because after her release from prison, she spent some time in England and then she moved to the United States. She has since like settled in England again. But guess who she became?
I know this, but I don't remember the answer. I used to know this.
Well, her new name that she was given after release from prison is Anne Perry.
Right, she's a crime writer.
She
Yeah.
is one of the most successful historical detective novelists.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
She
I bought
is-
one of her books.
What?
I said I almost bought one of her books, and I think it was Shannon who said, or maybe it was you, Shelby. I don't remember. Someone was like, "Yeah, she's actually a murderer."
Oh, that was me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not me.
But yeah, so yeah, that's Anne Perry for you. Because I was going to make, like, the title of this Anne Perry, but I didn't want to give that away, so it's going to be Heavenly Creatures. But anyway, yeah. So Anne Perry, she's, like, on the New York Times bestselling list, like, constantly. She has a bunch of different, like, series. She does, like, the Thomas Pitt series, the Daniel Pitt, the William Monk, Elena Standish. Apparently, these are all, like, super popular series that she does. But yeah,
My mom read one of those series.
yeah. She is
I
currently
don't know if that was a
81
relevant, sorry.
years old. And yeah,
Neither of
she
them ever,
is-
like, married or had kids or anything, did they? It's not, like, relevant. I'm just wondering. I don't think
No.
they did. Okay.
No.
I didn't think so. Ugh.
Yeah, because for a while when she was in England, she was a flight attendant, and then she is like converted to Mormonism and
Oh,
blah blah
yeah.
blah.
That's the other thing. I feel like they wouldn't, like, at least nowadays in the U.S., they wouldn't let somebody with a murder conviction, even as a juvenile, be a flight attendant.
Yeah,
You know? Like,
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But yeah, she took the name Anne Perry. Perry is her stepfather's last name, and then Anne is whatever. But, and yeah, she like wrote her first novel and published it under that name, and it was successful. So that's the name she just kind of stuck with. But yeah, so I think she's won a bunch of awards, like the Edgar Award for Best Short Story. I don't know, just things like that. But she achieved her goal of like getting her works published,
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to
oh, that's
kill
right. In
someone.
2017, she moved to Hollywood to more effectively promote films based on her novels. But yeah, so like her novels have been made into movies and things like that. So like obviously not at all gonna excuse what she did, but girl achieved her goal even after being convicted of murder.
Yeah, maybe I need to kill someone to, like, get my books. Well, I don't have any books written yet.
Yeah.
To finish a book.
Yeah, there was like, I can't find the number anymore. I'll have to figure out which article I saw it on. But it was something where like she's sold like 20 million copies of books or something. I don't know. It's a huge number, and she's super successful as a mystery writer and all of that. But yeah,
So I said that thing about murder. I don't know if you guys heard me, and then I disconnected, and I was like, "Wow, thanks for your support,"
Yep.
because it was completely silent. And
Oh man.
Love that.
I love the internet. I love technology.
Don't you? But yeah, so that's Anne Perry for you, aka the story behind Heavenly Creatures.
If I could make a request and have the title be Heavenly Creatures, the Parker-Hulme murders.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Because we didn't talk about that movie at all.
I mean, I can just make it the Parker-Hulme murders.
I don't know. I'm fine
care.
with it. I just feel like that's going to be a little more descriptive. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's just because, like, Peter Jackson put a lot of research into that movie. Like, it's pretty much true to exactly what happened.
Interesting. That doesn't happen a lot. With
Yeah,
movies
as
like
far as,
that.
like, he puts in everything about, like, the fourth world and, like, the obsessive nature of their friendship and, like, the whole, like, they bonded over being sick and they decided to kill her because she was moving away and, like, her mom wouldn't let them. So, like, the movie is pretty accurate for the most part. I mean, obviously, they probably sensationalized a few things.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to. This crime's already pretty out there as it is.
Right? Like, it's
You know?
weird, but yeah, so. But yeah, I'll make it Heavenly Creatures, :
Yeah. You don't have to.
Parker-Hulme.
I'm just suggesting it.
Parker-Hulme. Sorry, there's no S. Whatever.
Yeah.
No, I
Ugh.
will, because that makes more sense.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's all I got for
Yay.
you.
Okay. Yay.
All right, it's 10 o'clock, and I have to work.
Where are we? Where? Oh, it's only an hour and 45.
Yeah. this
Okay,
ended up
that's
being
not too
fine.
bad.
Yeah.
And we can cut out a lot of.
Yeah.
Right, like you cut out like the
Garbage.
first
I
30
will.
minutes.
Don't worry about it. Also, we've all done 3 episodes now.
Heck yeah.
I thought we already
And
did that.
we all had done 2. Now we've all done 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
every time we do one, we add a number.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Um,
Is that how numbers work?
yeah. And then this is our last episode in August. So we've also done a full month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at us go.
Woo.
Yeah, if you guys want,
Well, we done 2 full months.
you listener people want like to hear your own stories, we could do like a mini episode or something.
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
I think we need to actually put shit on Patreon in order for people to donate to our Patreon.
Well,
So,
I mean,
like-
oh wait, we don't have anything. I
No,
don't know
we
how-
haven't made anything. Why would that?
I thought we had like a John Wayne Gacy thing.
What?
I don't know.
When did we do
I don't know.
that?
I don't know.
Okay.
If y'all
I
did
don't
that,
know.
Clearly I was not there for
Yeah,
that.
I wasn't there for that either.
Maybe I wasn't there for that.
Did you dream that up, Hannah?
Yeah.
Probably. I have really crazy dreams
Same.
when I have migraines, which was today. I called my mom and asked her, I was like, did we have this toy when I was little? And she was like, no. And I was like, cool, I definitely dreamt it.
Yeah. No, I have those all the
No,
time
I have
just because of my meds.
like memories that are straight up dreams that like they didn't happen. I've asked my parents and they're like, no, you made that up.
I had a dream so intense once that I woke, like, when I opened my eyes, I for real thought I was dead. I was like, wow, I just died. This is horrible.
That sounds
It
fun.
was great. I was hit by a car. Anyway.
Yay.
Cool.
Okay. We still don't have a goddamn ending. I personally
we're
have
real
given
bad
up
at
on that
this.
completely.
I
Same.
thought of one today, and then I completely
Forgot
forgot
it,
about
dude.
what
You
it
thought
was.
of one last week and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start writing it down.
Uh-huh. Sure.
None of us have memory skills. We should really work on that.
I do for like shit like this. Mine's my entire childhood and teenagehood and young adulthood. It's gone. Shit like this, I remember.
No, I can't remember any of this. Like, I straight up forgot this week was my episode. So
I
I'm
know.
honestly surprised I managed to get through that. But I also know a lot about that case.
Yeah.
Not that I know a lot. I've just read the
Yeah.
same articles a million
Yeah.
times. Also, sources.
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia. What is it? Like weirdhistory.com, ranker.com, and a bunch of random YouTube videos that I can send you the links to.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yay.
To everyone who listens.
Yeah.
She'll be up. She'll send you the link.
Yeah.
I'll just give them to you, Hannah. I put them on the website.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Okay. Well,
I'll figure
whatever.
it out.
They're not important. But also thank you to the people who made those YouTube videos. You got my money because I watched your ads, so.
So do you need more advertisement now?
Well.
Okay, well, bye.
Yeah.
My room is so hot and I'm sweating up a storm, so I need to go.
Okay.
Oh, take your school picture
Bye.
right now. Thanks for listening to The Triad. Our music is by Scott Buckley. Our audio is recorded by our sound engineers, Craig Bott and Audrey Credo.
If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Tumblr as The Triad Podcast. Our website is thetriadpodcast.wordpress.com. There, you can find information about our latest episode, including the show notes and sources.
We're also on Patreon as The Triad. Currently, all Patreon funds will go towards the cost of hosting the show. Each tier has its own rewards, but every patron receives our undying gratitude. Do you have comments, questions, or stories? Email us at thetriadpod@gmail.com. And thank you again for listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive.